that I believe strongly in is that no matter what event you're going to, whether it's Wasteland Weekend or any kind of event that involves a vehicle, is you want to make sure that vehicle is in tip-top shape. You know, you don't want to have any problems, any breakdowns. Of course, anything can happen, but it's always good to make sure that you're prepared. So I'm going to touch on what I feel is my list, kind of my personal list, my personal opinion on what you need to go through on your vehicle to make sure that it's ready for these events. So one of the first things you want to do, of course, is to make sure you have the proper fluids in your vehicle. This includes everything from oil, water, coolant, things like that. You want to make sure that you don't have any leaks or any oil pouring down the side of your engine or anything like that, because that could, it could cause a fire situation, or it could just make a mess. You know, you don't want to be that guy, you know, who has the machine that's just dripping oil everywhere. So a good thing to do is you just you reach down here, you just touch the side of your engine, you know, anywhere, and you just wherever you suspect there might be oil. And if there's oil in your hands, let's go through and check some of these fluids. So we have, this is our oil fill right here, and this right here is the power brake booster fluid. So you want to make sure both of those are filled up. This is the green fluid. It has a green cap. It shows that that's the green fluid. I'm not really sure what it's called. It's just called the green fluid. Go to AutoZone. They'll know what you're talking about. This right here is actually, let's see. I think this is, that's spent sewage. That's actually the spent sewage. So in case you've emptied out your sewage tank in the back, it comes up here and it sits in here, and then you can literally drain that out. It works really well. This right here, this is called the checker stick, and what you do is you pull this out and you look at it and you make sure there's a little section that shows where you're not supposed to go. There's a line. Yeah, see that line right there? You have to stay below that line, or otherwise your engine will just blow up. It'll literally just explode. So that looks good. Oh, I have to check the windshield wiper fluid. Let's see, windshield wiper fluid. I think it's this. Not sure. The windshield wiper pump. I seem to not have a windshield wiper pump for some reason. Let me check. Just bear with me for a second here. Windshield wiper. Uh-oh. Okay, never mind. I don't even have a windshield, so I think I'm probably okay. These wires are all very professionally done. The person who had this vehicle before me, I think, was a professional electrician, and you can tell from the duct tape. This is actually electrician's duct tape, and that is 100% safe right there. Also, these these connections here, if you can see bare wire, then you're good. That's exactly the way it's supposed to be. These are called bolt holders. If you need a spare bolt, what you do is you put these in here, and then and if you need that bolt, later you can go back and you can say, oh, there's that bolt. Oh, I needed that one. So yeah, so those are the spare bolt holders, and I have quite a bit of them. The guy, I swear, the guy who owned this before me was really prepared. And right here also we have spare electrical connectors in case we need them. I guess that's what this is. This is the spare. This is a spare sensors, things like that. These are just in case I need them for some other time. So this truck is in really tip-top shape. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's basically a show truck. And then over here, as you can see, these wires, these plugs and wires are brand new. These cracks in here, they help with the electrical arc that happens when you start your car, so it's perfectly fine. This is just an open tube that goes to nothing. That's very important. You want to let your engine breathe. So any openings like that you can have, like right here, this is very important. Oh, another spare screw. I got to remember that one too. These are very important for letting your engine breathe. This is where it breathes in, and then this is where it breathes out. It's like a human. I mean, engines are basically humans. This is the transmission differential fluid, and it looks like, yeah, there's a little drop on the bottom there. Totally fine. That will help make your back wheels spin faster. All right, so other than that, let's take a look at the inside. you want to test your vehicle first. You want to try it out. You want to start it and make sure that all the gauges work. Okay. Yeah, that's good voltage. Yeah. Great oil pressure. It's about 10. Yeah, that's exactly where you want it. That voltage is about 6. That's about where you want that. That red battery light that's on right there, that's very important because you want to make sure that your battery works. Everything else looks good. The fuel gauge is on E, which means everything. It means it's everything you need in the gas is there. Everything else looks good. It looked like the temperature gauge did not move, which is very important. You don't want it to move at all because that means, you know, you'll overheat. So you want it to stay at C and not budge at all. That means your temperature gauge is actually working as planned. And then just kind of look around, make sure that your vehicle's cleaned out really well. Make sure that you have a very clear view. This is very important. A very clear view behind you, because you don't want anything obstructing your view when you're backing up. That's why I cut that window right there. It's a full view. You know, I can see every single thing behind me. And I've only run over one of our dogs, so the other ones, I mean, it's fine. Another thing you want to look for is on the roof of your vehicle, if you have things like this, these bolts sticking down, it's very important to make sure that you sharpen those. Because I've heard statistics, maybe it was Mythbusters or something, about how blunt objects actually cause more damage than sharp objects. More people get hurt by dull knives than sharp knives. So you want to make sure you sharpen all of this type of thing, and then the statistics are in your favor at that point. So you have nothing to worry about. Always make sure to clean under your vehicle as well. Make sure that you don't neglect the bottom of your vehicle, because it's very important not to have any kind of debris or anything that might be interfering with your steering or your suspension, or especially your brakes. You don't want anything around your brakes that would cause any problems with that. And this looks pretty safe. It looks like I'm good here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just call that good. My tie rods look good. This right here, this is a tie rod, and it looks good. It has the center hole is cleared, so I think I'm good on that. This is called the oil dampener, and this oil dampener is fine. It's as long as you can go like this and hear that sound, then you're good. Tires are very important to keep at tip-top shape. You know, you want to make sure. I think it was Miles Standish, the great captain of the Mayflower, who once said that tires are the lifeblood of any off-road vehicle. So you want to make sure, first of all, that your vehicle tires have expansion lines. These right here, these are called expansion lines. I think it was Frederick Douglass's theory of relativity, where he said that you need expansion lines in your tires when you're off-roading, because with the deflation and inflation of the tire, with the different temperatures, it's going to cause some problems. Okay, so I have some pretty good ones. It took me a couple years to get those. I would say, at this point, these tires are only worth more money. The tires go up in price the longer you have them. And these right here, I have some really good expansion lines up here. You can see right in there, and that will help with, like I said, if your tire is having problems with inflation and deflation, it'll actually help to regulate that. And speaking of that, you want to make sure, it's very important to keep your tire at the highest air pressure that you possibly can get. And this right here, let's see if I can find it on this tire. Yeah, right there. That's 31 by 13 by 50. That's your air pressure right there. And that is 31 pounds per second is what you have to fill it up. And once you get it filled up, maximum tire pressure, the absolute highest you can, and then that way you'll be able to get better traction out in the sand. And any serious off-roader knows that you need to get it the highest possible air pressure. Another perfect example of how sharp is safer, because you actually want things around, especially where you enter and you go back and forth a lot, you want it to be as sharp as possible. That will reduce injury, up to 30%. Lighting is also a very important part of any build. You want to make sure that you have these off-road lights only. Take out your headlights. When they invented headlights in, I think it was 1963, they made them so that, you know, back then things were a lot different. There were different roads and everything. So now you have to have your headlights removed and put these on. And you know what's even better is I feel a little embarrassed I don't have these, but you'll notice that any serious off-roader or serious car nut will have a light bar. And I'm not talking about like a little light bar here. I'm talking about, this is 163 inches from there to there. So you want something that's gonna go, it's gonna stretch. And you know, even if it goes over a little bit, it's actually better. It goes all the way across. And if you double stack the light bars, it's even better. That's how people know that you're a serious car guy. If you have, you know, the more of those things you have, the more LEDs, the brighter. That all, it works together to kind of build your reputation as a serious, and that, and also having a Jeep. So I hope this helped you out. I hope it helps you at least plan out, you know, your trip and plan out kind of what you want to do with your vehicle as far as preparation. You know, we're 2 weeks away. We have a lot to do. I'm coming from Northeast Alabama, so I'll be driving across the Great 40. You know, I was gonna drive this, but it doesn't have headlights. And that's the one thing. It's kind of like, you know, everything else is fine. I'm sure it would check out at you know, DOT stations and everything. And make sure all your gauges work. You know, I mean, I don't know what I would do if any of my gauges were out. I wouldn't know how fast I was going. I wouldn't know how much gas I had. I wouldn't know the voltage or the oil pressure, any of that stuff. So hopefully this all helps you. And I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'm gonna go murder my neighbors for all mowing their lawns at the exact same time. Thanks for that. Yeah, you missed a spot.